Hello and welcome everybody. I'm Matt from MTG Gaming Bob. Sorry about the last week with having no videos or whatever. And I know that Bob posted a video, but I didn't have anything out for myself or anything. I was sick with some kind of I don't know, nothing major or anything, just some kind of flu or cold or something. But anyways, I'm feeling much better now, so back at it. And before we get into the deck tech, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe on the video. It helps a lot, and thanks for watching. I wanted to give an update on the Reyav Budget deck tech. It started off as $100, and then each week we were doing a league that I was in. Each week you had to add $50 more to the budget. So it ended at $250, and by week 4 you were kind of done. So I ended up in like 16th out of 26 people. The one game, I will say, it was like the last week, the 4th week, I got targeted really for no reason, all but because the person that targeted me didn't want to lose a point. They wanted to they figured that they were going to be next to go, so they just killed me even though I had no real pressure or anything, which kind of makes playing for points a little weird. It kind of takes away from the actual commander dynamic and it changes it more into I don't know, just for points. But I guess that's what a league's for. I don't know. I'm still new to leagues, so if you guys have played leagues before and this is typical behavior, then, cool. But that person that eliminated me ended up getting eliminated because I had no threats at all, literally zero. But he could kill me, but not the other person. But then he wasn't able to kill the other person because he had used everything on me, and then he died. It made it really weird. Normally you kind of assess who's the biggest threat and kind of take them out, and you could even work together and make some deals. But none of that happened. It was just I got to kill you because I don't want to be last. So I ended up getting eliminated, so I got 0 points. But yeah, I got 10.5 points out of a possible, I don't know. It's kind of fluid because you get half points for subbing in, you get a point. There's all kinds of different ways to earn points. I don't know. It's an interesting league, but it's been very fun at least. At the very least, it's just been fun to play some commander. I did not enjoy Reyav, unfortunately. That was kind of the downfall of the league for me, at least, is that it was a random commander. I had no investment in it. I didn't really want to play the commander itself. There were just so many better options that I was playing in the deck that I would just rather have that as be the actual commander itself. But anyways, so what I'll do here, I'll just quickly go over everything I added in throughout the budget, and this puts the budget at, it says 260, but it was 250 at the end of the 4th week or whatever. So what I'll do is I'll just kind of go through each card as I remember adding and removing. A lot of the cards actually stayed in, which was pretty cool. Cards like Champion of Flame, Goblin Cavalier, Kazul, Toll Collector, Fervent Champion, these are all from the beginning, never removed. They just were great. Akiri is great as well. Togo, I got to do once. It probably wasn't, good enough. It could have probably been removed for something better. Volduck as well. Never got to use it. I got to use Shram once. He's great if you can get him and play him. I'm sure that over the long run, he's definitely worth keeping in. Runar Battlehammer was a monster in multiple games. If he were the commander, you see what I'm saying? If he were the commander, it would be even better. But yeah, he was many times equipped with a bunch of things, swinging for 20, 30, 40 damage. I think at the most I did was 56 damage or something like that with lifelink and trample and flying. All the other fun stuff. So, Brutal Banhammer was awesome. Danitha was okay. It was, reduction of equipment costs reduction of, casting your spells is always nice, especially because I'm running a light amount of land. 34 land is pretty light, but the mana curve is pretty low, so I didn't really ever run into mana issues except for once, and luckily one of the cards that I was running took care of that, so overall pretty good. And so we'll continue on. Arden was fairly good. I think I only got to play her once, never got to play Sun Titan, I just never drew it. Wyleth never got to use in actual play. Osgir never got to use at all. Armored Skyhunter got to attack one single time before people went, nope, that's too good, and they removed it immediately. Never got to play Stonehewer Giant, who is a monster, by the way. Pure Steel Paladin, I think I did get to play, and I believe I did get to re-equip some things around for free. I think one game. I don't believe I saw Esper Sentinel, but maybe one time, and it was pretty good. It drew a couple cards. And Stoneforge Mystic was a last edition, and I did not draw it, unfortunately. Cosmotronic Wave, never got to use it, never drew it. Reckless Crew, same thing, never got to use it. I did get to use Secret Rendezvous, and it was good, obviously, to draw cards. The person that I targeted ended up winning. However, again, it was one of those things where the rules dictated that he was basically going to win. There's this rule that whoever is the lowest point in the point total in your pod, you lose a point for eliminating them first. Anybody, it doesn't matter who they are. Whoever eliminates that person, you just lost a point. Now, however, this has been removed for this March League. Thank goodness, because I hated that rule. That rule was basically just like, you just leave that person alone because you don't want to be the first one to eliminate them, and then they're just able to just do whatever the heck they want. Not really, but like that's kind of how I felt, so I didn't like that rule, but luckily that was gone. But he won with some like mono blue, draw your entire deck and win with Thassa's Oracle, basically. I don't remember. Oh no, it was it's a zombie Maniac Library or Maniac Laboratory or Maniac something or other. Sorry, I don't remember the 100% the name, but it wasn't quite Thassa's, but it was some kind of Maniac guy, and he won because of that. Open the Army, I did get to use. It was pretty good, you know, being able to search for an aura or an equipment. Obviously, that's a mainstay. Return to Dust got used, I think, once. I did get to use Response to save myself, which was good in one of the first games I think I played. Using, when we get to it, there's a card, where's it at? The Sunforger monster card. Almost worth playing around, to be honest, like adding more stuff in there that you can actually grab. Master Warcraft never got to use. Obviously would be good. Unbreakable Formation, I don't even think I got to use this. I think there might have been a chance where I could have, if I needed to, use it with Sunforger, but I don't believe I ever did. Generous Gift I did use. Obviously removal is just good. Boros Charm. The Indestructible was handy and nice to be able to search up for Sunforger, so I think it's worth keeping. Anything with like Wear and Tear. Just removal, being able to search for it with Sunforger was really, really nice. I used Swords, Dispatch, Path. Those were all great. Never got to use Heliod's Intervention. And as far as enchantments are concerned, and artifacts, I mean, as the budget went up, I focused a lot of mainly trying to get like the pretty powerful ones. From the get-go, I had Batterskull in there just because it's great. Hunted Cloak is good because it's cheap, and it gives like kind of like the crucial things, the Trample, the Haste, and the Vig. When you're only swinging with like one big creature troned up with stuff, Vig is important, Haste can be important depending on if you're trying to recover from like a board wipe or something, and then of course Trample. So Trample and Vig, and equip a cost of 1 is just pretty stellar. Plate armor is pretty decent. The ward 1 is kind of whatever, but the +3/+3 and having the equipment cost be almost free almost all the time is pretty nice. Golem skin gauntlets, this was just a free, or a fairly cheap free in a lot of cases, with different equip costs being reduced or like the cast of equipments being reduced. It's just very strong. It only gives +1/+0 for each equipment, but I mean, when you're running 21 of them, it's, you know, you're gonna run enough to make it worth your while for only one colorless. It's very cheap. Rogue's Gloves were nice for draw power. In playtesting, it obviously was pretty good. I don't remember if I might have gotten to draw a couple cards from it. Hero's Blade was very good when I remembered to play it correctly. There were a couple times where I went to like play my commander first instead of the Hero's Blade, which was wrong, obviously. You want to play the Hero's Blade first, and then the next turn play your commander or whatever legendary. But luckily, I was able to kind of like catch those before I did. I'd go to play the commander, I'm like, wait, and then play the Hero's Blade, play the commander, or what have you. Loxodon is amazing. Just trample Lifelink. Lifelink was a very important thing because once people see that you're swinging for like 12 double strike or like 15 double strike or 20 double strike, which are pretty common, they're either going to remove the thing or they're going to target you with everything they got. And since you only have one creature, you have to be able to get your life total back up. There was 2 games where I broke 100 life, so it's good. However, I only won 1 full series. Everything else was, the first week I won, and then every other game after that I did not. I was like, I think I was second the second week and third the third week, and then fourth the final week. Like I said, I got targeted pretty hard. So that was unfortunate. But so next we'll go to Boros Signet. Boros Signet is just a mana ramp. Blackblade Reforged is decent, but I only think I got to play it once. Masterwork and Ingenuity, amazing. I love it. Sunforger, this is the card. I think this is the highlight of the deck, to be quite honest. It's my favorite. Just having, most of the time, being able to unattach it at instant speed and tutor any red or white instant card with converted mana cost 4 or less, and then be able to play it, is very, very helpful. And I actually think that if I were to rebuild this deck with a different commander, obviously, which is possible, and I'll actually go through, at the end, I'll talk about what I feel like this kind of deck is used good for. I don't actually think it's great for the League at all. I think the route that I went probably wasn't amazing, but either way. But I think building around Sunforger and just like having like maybe just remove these 4 sorceries and just add more instants in there that maybe do the same thing or do something similar or whatever. But very good card. The 4/0 is pretty obviously good as well, but having that unequipability or unattachability is super cool. Sword of Vengeance, just very good. Just has a bunch of good flavor text on it as far as your first strike, your vid, your trample, your haste, all that kind of fun stuff. And it's fairly cheap as far as budget and cost. Bell Ring is ramp. Nettle Cyst MVP for sure as far as like the most amount of pluses, because it gives you +1 for your artifacts and enchantments, and it's a living weapon, so it gives you a body. So like if you can bounce it with whatever, it just gives you a new body to replace whatever if it died, or if you want to equip it or what have you. All kinds of good stuff. Colossus Hammer, you want to live the dream. You always want to like be able to Colossus Hammer, and I did it once, but like I think it's still worth keeping in there because there's real no downside. You have enough things to equip it for free that the 8 equipment cost is almost never going to be paid. The stuff that I added in, like Hammer of Hazan or Nazan, is a really, really cool card because it just then equips for free whenever you have Hammer on the battlefield. So you get around that. And of course, there's all kinds of Pure Steel Paladin like things where it just makes it free. Armored Sky Hunter again attached. So there's plenty of different ways. Stone Hewer Giant, free attachment. This one doesn't, just goes to the battlefield, but you get the point. Batterskull, Lifelink, like I said. Vig, Lifelink are very important, both of those. And then, of course, Trample. Those 3 are probably the most important. You're already getting double strike. You don't really need anything else besides Vig, Trample, Lifelink. You could probably focus it around those 3. Flying is nice, but if your dude's swinging for big enough, I mean, I cleared boards, man. Like people had to just like block with everything to survive sometimes. And I mean, you're gaining tons of life, and maybe you lose your guy, but with double strike, it's pretty rare. The next card was Sworth of Hearth and Home. This was never played, so I never got a chance to play it, unfortunately. But obviously, it would be good if I could. Commander Plate, I did get to use, I think, once, and of course, it was pretty good. Nothing too broken or anything, but just 3/3 in protection is nice. The Hammer is the second MVP, I would say, of the equipment. It's just very, very strong. Once you get to the battlefield, it just equips for free and like lets all of your equipment attach for free. When you just, I don't know, it's just, this is super strong. And not to mention, it also gives indestructible. So very fantastic artifact there. Probably one of the favorite. It is $17, so it's like a pretty big part of the budget, but when you're getting $50 per week, I probably wouldn't necessarily do it for the first week, but the second week for sure. And then Shadowsphere, also again, Trample, Lifelink, and 1/1, all pretty important. It's cheap to play. The Hexproof and Indestructible, it never came into play, but I did get to play Shadowsphere, so that was nice. The enchantments, never got to play it. I did get to play this. This was nice. Give yourself protection so you could just swing in. These 2 cards right here, they make it so that like your dude has to be answered, and if they don't, you just win. So obviously they're very important. Give yourself protection or basically it's basically unblockable. I did get to play all that glitters. That was pretty nice. Darksteel Mutation was just a nice removal. This is really good because it doesn't kill it. It makes it indestructible, and it loses all of its abilities. So it makes it very hard for them to get their commander back in a budget. So that's pretty nice. Unless they have like, enchantment removal, of course. I think I did get to play Fighter Class, which was nice. A very, very good card. And then Sigarda's Aid, I did get to play, I think, if I remember correctly, maybe once. And then lands, of course. Like I said, 34 might be a bit too low. I tend to run low amounts of land because you typically get a free mulligan, and in the first week of the league, you get 2. So as long as you keep a hand that has, like, you know, 3 land, you're pretty safe, especially with the mana curve of this deck. So overall, the deck was fun. However, oh, I did get to use Jessica's triple, which one-shot somebody, so that was pretty funny. So tripled on my commander, and he was like 12, so it was 36 commander damage, and I gained 36 life. That was pretty funny. I did win the game because of that, but I did get to use Nahari as well. She is very good, very strong. Being able to just tutor and play 1/1s that, you know, attach for free with some of your equipment, and just she's very strong. Obviously, planeswalkers, they're strong. Surprising, it wasn't one of those planeswalkers that I guess people understood or even, I guess, prioritized, because she was on the battlefield for like 5 turns. It blew my mind how much value I got from her. It might have just been the people who are playing against, they didn't understand the value, but it was super, super strong. Just getting free bodies, free tutors. I never used her ultimate just because I was mainly focused on getting 1/1 dudes and getting a free equipment, or just being able to search the top for warrior and equipment. I think I whiffed once, which was weird, but you know, you're never gonna hit every single time. But so would I build? Would I pilot Reyav again? No, not at all. I wish I would have been able to pick the commander, but it was one of the ones where everybody got random, and it kind of felt like whoever got the best random commander won. And I definitely got a little shafted, but that's, you know, that's RNG for you. So who would I pick the commander to be? It would be Brunar Battlehammer. He is very, very strong, very powerful. He costs double the mana cost, but just he's a powerhouse in himself. And double strike or first strike isn't too hard to get from equipment. So you could easily just put Brunar Battlehammer as the commander, and the deck would just be better. And then in his place, you can put something that gives your creatures double strike. I mean, you could even run Reyav in the main 100. I mean, Reyav isn't bad. It just was kind of, you know, boring. And getting to the point of the deck itself, as far as like how it felt to play, it basically was like you Tron up, you kill somebody, or you could kill somebody until 2 or 3 other people have answers for your one creature, which has very little protection, and it gets pathed, or it gets swan-songed, or it gets, you know, whatever million other removals there are. There's plenty of removals that get around the majority of cards. So I don't like the playstyle of put everything all on one guy, and then when it gets removed, you're just like spending the next few turns trying to rebuild. And it's just kind of demoralizing when like a capsize can just ruin your day. There was the first game we played against, the guy had enough mana to play capsize and buy it back, and he could have just done that to my guy over and over and over, and there's nothing I can do. There was like one equipment that gives hexproof, but he could just capsize in response when I go to equip that. There's just nothing I could do. So unfortunately, well, fortunately for me, I even won that game because he didn't want to play that way, which I thought was, I mean, you know, kudos to him, I guess, but he's like, I don't like playing that way. I was like, well, then why would you run capsize? But, you know, to each their own. I mean, thanks, I guess. But yeah, so this deck wasn't for me. It was fun playing in the league, fun to get to see other people's decks and whatnot. So if you guys are interested in playing Commander, there is another league that's going to be starting. I think it's every month, basically, on the Jake and Joel and Magic's Discord channel. So feel free to go over to their YouTube channel, and then they should be able to redirect you, or maybe probably just Google search their Discord channel. And if you're interested in playing in the league, it's a basically $100 budget. Each month has like its own special thing. And this month we're doing, you could pick any commander that's in a precon from Avengers of Zendikar and up. So I picked a commander that, interestingly enough, I didn't think that I would enjoy, but I'm building it more now towards the way I like to play. It's Sephris. Sephris is all about, you know, completing dungeons and adventuring and whatnot like that. The first week I played a buddy's deck of mine. Good job, Dino. He created a Sephris deck that was for the league, and he was going to play it, but it just last minute decided to play the boar, the new boar from Neon Dynasty. I forgot, is it Rada, maybe? The new boar, the one that goads creatures that are equipped or enchanted, which is it's a monster deck, but the Sephiroth deck, when going through dungeons and whatnot, is kind of cool, but I actually decided now that I've played the deck, I'm kind of like, each week, I'm kind of like transforming it more and more into more of a reanimator. It's still completing dungeons, but I'm mainly completing the dungeon that like goes through it the fastest so that I can reanimate stuff with Sephiroth. So I'm making it more of like a reanimator style, adding in things like Sheoldred and Elspeth, or not Elspeth, Elspeth? Elish Norn. Adding in things like Elish Norn to like just really just kind of be, you know, the reanimator style, just get big value from big creatures and get the value from just dumping things into the graveyard. Because quite honestly, I didn't see like I saw no graveyard removal in the very beginning of, or in all of the last month of Commander. And I think that I'm going to try to take advantage of that. So if you guys are interested in that, I'll have another deck tech of that. I'll have the deck tech of the first week, and then I'll do the updates of each week. I want to do updates every week of each deck as I build it and whatnot, but like I said, I was sick. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.